কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় গোপীজন বল্লভ জয় গিরিবরধারী জয় গোপীজন বল্লভ জয় গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজ জনরঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজ জনরঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে জয় শিল প্রভাত হরে কৃষ্ণ
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then Raghu Prabhu.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. For some reason, okay. Yeah. All right. 1 second. I don't know where my screen went. I was sharing it.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see your screen.
No, you can see the screen. I'm not able to. I'm seeing your face.
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe there are two tabs, Prabhuji. Maybe you are clicking on the meeting tab. There is a Raghu screen.
Yeah.
You want me to share my screen? I can share, Prabhuji.
No, 1 second. I had it for a second.
Okay. That's fine.
What's going on here?
In the meanwhile, you want me to read the Mangalacharan, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Raghu Prabhuji, if you can click on the view and then there is a swap video and share screen, I think then it will come up. Yeah.
Okay, view where?
Yeah, it is on the top bar where the YouTube, you see that sign in YouTube.
Oh, it's my screen. Yeah. So you can. Oh, whose screen is this?
This.
It's your screen only.
Your screen only. Yeah.
You are
I'm not
sharing.
able to. Okay, fine. Yeah. No, but I'm not able to.
Okay, let me stop. You can click on stop share.
Okay.
You can click on stop share.
So under the green share, what do I do?
Okay, let me share my screen. I think maybe it will go away yours.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, you can. Devotees, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Mahesh Prabhuji, would like to read the Mangalacharan or?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, I can try. Yeah. Thank you. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टः स्थापितेन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकमः वन्दे श्रीगुरुः श्रीयुतपदकमलः श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपसागरजात सहगण रघुनान्वित संजीवमा साद्वैत सावधूत परिजन सहित कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वाश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay.
I think I'm sharing it now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Chapter 12. So we finished 3 and 4 yesterday, right? So text 5 now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. All right, good. So yesterday we read text 3 and 4, and chapter 12 is on Bhakti Yoga. And it's starting off with, explaining the differences between personal worship, which is Bhakti Yoga, and impersonal form. So the verses 3 and 4 explain to us what it takes to do to get into the impersonal form, which is not easy. So we'll discuss more of that. But first, let's start by reading the verse 5. Who would like to start off by reading the sloka?
I can try, Prabhuji. Also, devotional pranam, always text 12.5. Klesho odikoro taraschesham abhyakta shakta chetasam abhyakto hi goti dukkham devo bhi abhopayate. Back to Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
I can also try.
Yeah, go ahead.
Krishna devotees, Thanatpranam, on Krishna Shil Prabhupada, text number 12.5. क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्ता सक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहावाप्तिरवाप्यते. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can try.
Yeah, please, Mataji, go ahead.
12.5. क्लेशधिकातरस्तेषम् अभ्यक्तासक्तचेतसम् अभ्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देहवाद्भिरभ्यपते. Back to Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else? Kleshodekatarasteşam avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham deha dehavat dehavat bir avapyate. Who would like to read the synonyms and translation?
I can read Prabhuji.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Kleshah, trouble. Adhikatarah, very much. Tesam, of them. Avyakta, to the unmanifested. Asakta, attached. Chetasam, of those whose minds. Avyakta, towards the unmanifested. He, certainly. Gatihi, progress. Dukham, with trouble. Deha vyadbhihi, by the embodied, a vyapate is achieved. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Hare Krishna. Now,
Thank you, Mataji. So this is a very long purport. So I think, let's see. Yeah, I think probably three of us can read this. So the first paragraph we can start off there. So who'd like to start reading the purport?
Can I try, Prabhuji? First
Yeah,
paragraph.
please.
Yeah, first. Yeah.
Absolutely, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. Purport. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of the inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis, and persons who are in full Krishna consciousness engage in devotional service to the Lord are called Bhakti Yogis. Now, here the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome, whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and is natural for the embodied soul. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It is very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the Bhakti Yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as a worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna of the supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities, but the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. You'd like to say a
Uh,
few things? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is very clearly explained in the very good, simple language by Prabhupada. And here we are talking about the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And since for Jnana Yogis, even though they are also achieving the same goal as Bhakti Yoga, the difficulty is in the path, like how difficult it is to visualize or manifest the Lord. Yeah, and I will say the Bhakti Yoga, since it is a easy way to understand and easy theoretically understandable. Yeah, and there we worship as mm, God and us as like a Saguna Bhakti. Saguna and Nirguna means Saguna means like with some personalities or the possession or possessing the attributes. Yeah, and Nirguna is there are no attributes. Yeah, so which is that's why it is difficult. Yeah, so Prabhupada has really explained in simple terms and simple language. Yeah, why the Bhakti Yoga is superior than the Jnana Yoga. Yeah, that's my understanding. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah,
Okay, Prabhuji. We'll go through this again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, continuing with the reading. So I think let's see. Yeah. So I think the next two paragraphs, starting from a crude example here. Who would like to read this?
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Shall I try Prabhuji?
Yeah, sure.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Abhay Charan Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. A crude example. Akkadi nunchi kada Prabhuji?
Yeah, Akanichi.
A crude example may be given here. We may find some mailboxes on the street, and if we post our letters in those boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which we may find somewhere but which is not authorized by the post office, will not to the will not do the work. Similarly, God has an authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Arka Vigraha. This Arka Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord.
Archa Vigraha.
God
Sarcha Vigraha.
Archa Vigraha. Sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Archa Vigraha will accept service throughout that form. The Lord, omnipotent, all powerful, therefore, by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of the devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditioned life. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Mm. So I think, all right. So who would like to, next paragraph? Yeah. From here.
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. All praise to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah. So for a devotee, there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly. But for those who are following the impersonal way to spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, and they have to learn the language, understand the non perceptible feelings, and realize all those processes. This is not very easy for common man. A person in Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service simply by the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, simply by the offering regulative obeisances onto the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of the foodstuff offered to the Lord, realizes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. There is no doubt that the impersonalists are unnecessarily taking their troublesome path with the risk of not realizing the absolute truth and at the ultimate end. But the personalist, without any risk, trouble, or difficulty, approaches the Supreme Personality directly. A similar passage appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is stated there that if one ultimately has to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus surrendering process is called bhakti, but instead takes the trouble to understand what is Brahman and what is not Brahman and spends his whole life in that way. The result is simply troublesome. Therefore, it is advised here that one should not take up this troublesome path of self realization because there is uncertainty in the ultimate result. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So you want to say a few things now, or?
Prabhuji, yeah, we can do it later. Like, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, one more paragraph. Who would like to read? Yeah.
I can read Prabhuji if anyone.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. A living entity is eternally an individual soul, and if he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspects of his original nature. But the blissful portion is not realized. By the grace of some devotee, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of Jnana Yoga, may come to the point of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble because he cannot give up the idea Therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifest, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. Every living soul is partially independent, and one should know for certain that this unmanifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual, blissful self. One should not take up this process. For every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, which entails full engagement in devotional service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is the danger of turning to atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifested, the inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Lord Krishna. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. You want to say a few things now? Or you didn't? Hare Krishna, Mataji. Do you want to
Oh,
add a
sorry.
few?
Sorry, Prabhuji, I was unmute. Yes, Prabhuji. So, and here in the impersonalism form, there is no form of Lord Krishna. So it is very difficult for soul, individual soul, to focus, like where he will focus, he or she will focus if he worship the impersonal form of the Lord. So here Prabhupada is explaining that eternally a living entity is an individual soul. And when he merges into the spiritual whole, and that blissful portion is not, like there is no bliss, there is no ananda. What a devotional service can give to a devotee. And the devotees, the position of a devotee is that he is the servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Krishna. That is devotee's position, the real position. And what is the relationship with Krishna? The relationship with Krishna is that he is the eternal servant of the Lord, and he, the devotee's only eternal work, eternal job is to serve the Lord. That is without any material desire or without any personal interest. That is the devotee should do in a devotional service, in a true devotional service. The Shuddha Bhakta, which is called pure devotee, their always their inclination is to serve the Lord, so to please the Lord. They don't think about themselves. But in the impersonalism, it's kind of there is a selfish agenda, like Jnana Yogi. They want to merge in a whole. They don't care about the whole world. They just merge themselves to the spiritual whole and the Brahma Jyoti, and just a light of Krishna, the effulgence of Krishna, and which is not complete. It's a part of the absolute truth. There is a three features of the absolute truth: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Brahman is one part, but it's incomplete form of absolute truth. And they want to merge on that whole, and there is no relationship. There is no. Therefore, if there is no relationship, if they cannot realize that they are the eternal servant of the Lord, then what's the point only in merging? So that's why Prabhupada is telling, and Lord Krishna himself is telling, it's very troublesome, very difficult. Anytime it can, they can fall down, and atheism also come when there is no form to meditate upon. So, and that's why Bhakti Yoga, where there's a full engagement in devotional service, is the best among all the other services, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is the best. Prabhuji, and that's why Prabhupada is telling that that's why it should not be encouraged anytime, especially in this age of Kali, because there is so many distraction among the people. Everyone wants to please themselves. Everyone wants their own agenda, one personal agenda to fulfill, and and engaging all the senses on those to fulfill their gratification. That's why it is very important to do the devotional service, to do for the Lord, to please the Lord only. That will be the goal of the life. And through the devotional service, one can achieve that goal. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Back to you, please, Karik.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice summary of what you read. So, so would you like to, Shubal Gopal Prabhu, you like to say a few things, or you want me to go ahead?
Yes, Prabhuji, after you.
Not after me. Okay. All right. So, uh, yeah, this particular really explains the how the impersonalists and the difference between the first bhakti yoga and the impersonal form of worship, if we can call it worship. So, uh, so here the Prabhupada is very strongly discouraging that, and as Mataji said, even Krishna is not encouraging that at all. So if you look at the previous the translation from the previous were two verses, the impersonal practice, it's very difficult because it involves controlling the various senses, being equally disposed to everyone, and uh, then such persons eventually achieve Brahman. That's what that's what their goal is, and they have to go through this process many lifetimes until they come in contact with for the mercy of a pure devotee, and then they finally realize that Vasudeva is the one and all, and he's the one who's controlling everything. And then, if they're lucky, then they go in that direction. So while they're practicing impersonalism, they have to control all their senses. Yesterday we were discussing how difficult it is to control our senses. But on the other hand, in Krishna consciousness, we use our senses or dovetail all our senses in the service of Krishna. So that's really the big advantage of Bhakti Yoga. It's a direct path, and impersonal form is an indirect path, and it takes many lifetimes to finally come to the direct path. So now coming to this particular uh, chapter, this particular sloka. So it says here that uh, for those for the to get to realize the unmanifested, which is the impersonal feature of the Supreme, it is very difficult. And for the embodied soul, so the embodied soul is a person who doesn't know the difference between this that there's between the body and the soul, and that's the general uh, conventional thinking, and that's been the thinking from time immemorial, that we are the body and our soul is also part of the body. But we know, we have been reading right from chapter 2 how our body is temporary and our soul is eternal. So now in this purport, uh, the impersonal feature of the Lord can be realized by Jnana Yogis. And the Jnana Yogis are those people who are practicing, reading all the Upanishads and the Vedas, and they have to perfect that before actually getting into the part where they begin to get into the Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga or whatever it is. Uh, For the for the embodied soul in this case would be someone who is a common man, which is what an ordinary everyday person would is more materially, he's body oriented. He thinks that's the be all and end all of everything. For him to uh, to get into the Jnana Yoga would be extremely difficult. So the easier path for him would be to uh, yeah, start getting into the Bhakti Yoga. So now the thing with Bhakti Yoga is that you can start off in a very easy way by going to a temple and worshipping the deity in the temple. Now the deity in the temple, as Prabhupada explains here, can have it's the Supreme Lord is Nirguna, but the deity is in the temple is a material form, and one can look upon it as it has material qualities because it is made of wood or stone or something else. But in the end, one who has bhakti realizes how it is really uh, uh, really uh, authorized by the Supreme Lord in a way through the Vedic mantras. Uh, he is residing in that. Now, Prabhupada has given example how, for instance, with a mailbox, if you mail a letter in a regular uh, United States Postal Service mailbox, then it'll go to a destination. But if you put it obviously in any old box, it won't go anywhere. Now the deity in the temple is also called the Archa Vigraha. So this is a like an incarnation of the Supreme Lord that he has accepted this deity as his form. So once we understand that, that's why all the temples have these deities, and even some of you have these vigrahas in your home, and they have been installed there. And there is a certain process for the installation. Uh, going through the lot of Vedic mantras and so on. And he's been invited to reside in that. So then it becomes a very powerful figure, and then we can go to the temple and start worshiping this deity form. And for a, for a person, for an embodied soul, this becomes a much easier path of starting the process of bhakti yoga. So that's one thing. Okay. So Prabhupada goes on to explain how for the impersonalist, they have to, as I mentioned earlier, they have to when they start going through the Jnana Yoga, they have to read the Upanishads and learn the Vedic literature, learn all the nuances of the language, and uh, and even before starting the process of the impersonal realization. So that itself is a difficult path. The prerequisite, if you want to call it that, to get into the impersonal realization is very difficult. So this for an ordinary person who would go and pray to a deity, this would be extremely difficult. It's not something that could come naturally. But on the other hand, person in Krishna consciousness, as is explained here, through there are defined rules to go about uh, getting practicing bhakti in the Krishna consciousness. You have a bona fide spiritual master, you have regulative principles, you have association of the deities, you take the prasadam that's offered to the Supreme Lord. So everything that's there is dovetailed towards serving the Lord, serving Krishna. So uh, without having, at least initially, to go through you don't even have to go into all the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and so on initially, but soon you will get into it because you'll have start having an interest and you start getting into it. But the point here is that uh, through this, through the bona fide spiritual master and through the regulative principles, or even visiting the deity in the temple, you're already on the path of the bhakti yoga. But the impersonalists, as it says here, they have a very difficult path. They start on this path, and there's no guarantee at the end of it that they'll reach where they want to be. That is realizing the Brahmajyoti. They could still uh, not achieve what they want to achieve. So that is something that's totally discouraged. And the other point, the last point that I wanted to make, which Mataji also explained very nicely, is that the Jnana Yoga uh, will give you realization of the eternal, which is a total Brahma Jyoti, and you will be reading a lot of Jnana Yoga, through going through Jnana Yoga, so you'll be knowledgeable in all the Vedas and everything. Uh, but then you don't have the bliss. So there is Sat and Chit, but no Ananda. So, on the other hand, the Krishna conscious person knows that he is eternally and he is knowledgeable and he is blissful. So, because as long as you keep practicing it very sincerely, uh, yeah, yeah, those are some of the things I wanted to say. Uh, so, yeah. So, if anyone, yeah, uh, others can add and comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji then. Yes, Prabhuji, you wonderfully explained. Mataji also very well explained, Prabhuji. As we can see, the path of impersonal worshippers are troublesome, as you wonderfully mentioned. Here we can see the contrast between the Bhakti Yoga and Gnana Yoga. Those who worship in the impersonal feature of the Supreme God are Gnana Yogis, and those who perform the devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, are called Bhakti Yogis. So, like the Supreme Lord, a living entity is also originally Sachitananda. We were all originally Sachitananda because when a drop of rain comes from the cloud, it is pure. But once it comes in contact with the material nature here, depending on where it falls, like if it falls on a lotus, it will become like, it will look like a diamond. But if it falls in a muddy puddle, it is, contaminated. So like that, eternally, we are all knowledgeable and blissful. By Gnana Yoga, embodied soul may realize the eternal and the knowledge aspects of his original nature. But as you mentioned, this the chit blissful position is only realized when we follow Bhakti Yoga. And it is a lot easier also, as you wonderfully mentioned. So, and also we can see that by the grace of, and the spiritual master and, Vaishnavas, and some senior devotees, the transcendentalist highly learned in the process of Jnana Yogi, if they come in contact with Bhakti Yogis, they will also follow Bhakti Yoga. So even that goal of impersonal Brahman, which is attained by the Jnana Yoga, and such suffering is only by having the mixture of the Bhakti. So that is wonderful explained here. So they both have same goal. This goal is, of course, everybody has, the goal is to reach the Lord. But the process of Gnana Yogi is very troublesome because it is difficult in this, especially in this Kali Yuga, because as we can see, In other yugas, they used to meditate on the form of the Lord for hundreds and thousands of years. But now it is very difficult. Even for us to do in the morning when we do chanting in the Brahma Muhurta, of course we are, at least I'm talking for myself, I quantitatively I complete my chanting, but the qualitatively mind wanders here and there. So that's why the process of bhakti is directly, of course it is also difficult because the chanting, and ekadashi, but if with when we are doing with in the association of devotees, it becomes pleasure. We sing for the Lord, we dance for the Lord, we take the remnants, food that is offered to the Lord. So the bhakti yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as the worshipable, because because he is fixing his mind, BMW, BMW, we say, right? Body, mind, and works. Everything in the service of the Lord. So in that way, it is not that difficult. And as you wonderfully explained, the deity worship, when we have one wonderful analogy you gave, the deity is the authorized representation of God, is known as Archa Vigraha. And the deity is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord to accept the service of our living entities. We, even the Vedic literatures, worship may be, saguna or nirguna of the supreme process, but saguna worship, because the Lord is represented by the material qualities and absolute nature of the Lord. The form of the Lord is through representing the material qualities. Even the Raja Vigraha can be made of stone, wood, doesn't matter. But what matters is our bhakti. And as we know, the Lord is omnipotent, all powerful. He can accept the services of a devotee in his Archa Vigraha form, because our senses, Lord's senses, he can do everything. By just looking at the bhoga that we offer, the Lord can accept it. So in that way, whatever we do with love and devotion, the Lord accepts it. And you already wonderfully explained how difficult it is, practice of the impersonalist. They have to understand and the unmanifested representation of the Supreme Lord. Studying, there are hundreds of Vedas. It takes the whole lifetimes to for us to read the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, everything. But of course, we have to continue doing it. But we have the cream of all the Vedas. We have the cream of all the Upanishads. The cream of all the Upanishads is Gita Upanishad. The cream of all the Vedas, yeah, everything is the Bhagavatam, literal incarnation of the Lord. So just by studying the cream and serving the Lord, we can uh, uh, easily obtain the Lord. As just by chanting and following the regulative principles given by the spiritual master, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit relationships, and chanting and devoting our devotee association, books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, deity worship, visiting the holy places in the association of devotees. Like we all get together for satsanga, we do kirtans, we sing, dance. So it is so much ananda. It is the complete realization. We realize the Satchit Ananda, which implies even the blissful portion of the Supreme Lord truth we can realize. So for us, the best solution is for every individual living entity, the process of Krishna consciousness, will get the full engagement of the devotional service of the Lord. Just to surrender, or the bhakti should be the ultimate goal. But if one wants to ignore the devotional service, there is a danger of turning into atheism. So in this way, the best thing is to just become a bhakti yogi. That's my understanding. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice summary of the difference between impersonal and bhakti yoga. And you brought up a very good point about association. Bhakti yoga, we have the association. We don't want to say that bhakti yoga is very easy. It is not. It is, you do have to practice, and you have to do it very sincerely. Uh, but uh, but we do have reinforcement in the form of when we associate with the devotees. It's always there's a constant reminder. The more we associate with devotees, the more we are reminded of what our goal, collective goal is. Uh, the other hand, for the impersonal realization, yeah, it's almost looks to me, and I don't know, other than what I'm reading here, to me it looks like it's a solo practice, uh, in the sense that you have to uh, understand. I'm sure you'll have a guru who will be teaching you all these, uh, uh, going through the Vedas and so on. But after that, once having done all that, then controlling the senses, for instance, is something it's entirely up to you. It's no point if you're some other person has controlled his senses. You have to do it yourself. But on the Bhakti Yoga, we have opportunity for reinforcement by constantly reinforcement and reminder by constantly associating with the devotees because they're all like-minded and we are all doing it together. For example, when we go to Alachua or any of the satsangs, we see how much vibration there is in the temple. We all get excited when we see the kirtans and bhajans and everything going on over there. Uh, so yeah, so I'd like to hear from uh, others on this call. Uh, I see Baldev Seva Prabhu, Navananda, Chaitanya Prabhu, so on. Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Very nice discussion so far. Just to mention that Orcho Vigraha, the word means that Vigraha we worship as per the Vedic rituals, and especially by Nagmuni instruction that we call Panchayatra Vidhi. So that Vigraha, as a specific, we cannot make anything whatever we like. It has to be as per Bhagavatam. It has to be either wood, metal, stone, sand, earth, jewels, or it can be paint, or in mind, Manush Puja. So these are called Orcho Vigraha and how to be made. Like sometimes now, if you look that in our Jamashtami, we got Radha Krishna. That Radha Krishna actually not made of out of these 8 elements. So that's why we will not do this deity in temple. This is our only festival deity. So if we do the deity Orcho Vigraha, it has to be by these 8. This is complete restrictions. And when we do the deity or Orcho Vigraha, there's a we can do aparad also. Like that in Shastra says that Orche Vishnu Shiladi Gurusho Naromati and Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. So when we do a Orchana in a deity, we can think it's a stone or we can think it's a jewel metal. This is Krishna himself, Vigraha. And Guru Normati. Guru never is a like common human being. Guru is a representative of Krishna. So he's as good as Krishna. But Guru knows he's a servant of Krishna. But Guru is to us as good as Krishna. And Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. We cannot say, okay, he's a white devotee. Sometimes we say to identify the other people don't know. But devotee is devotee. We sometimes say Bengali, South Indian, or African. But devotee is devotee. There's no differentiation. So these are 3 operas. And on the top opera is the Orche Vishnu Shiladi. So we cannot, when is it that if you go to the Alacha temple, it's Krishna himself, Radharani himself, Prabhupada himself. So, and that Biglo has to be made perfectly by only 8 ways. That is Shastra recommends. Back to Guruji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Vasant Prabhu, do you like to say anything on this? Chanli Mataji?
Prabhuji, I actually have one question, Prabhuji. So,
Yeah,
like, for to know Krishna really through any of the methods, we are really just trying, right? And then like Krishna takes mercy and then he reveals himself, right? Like we don't really have the power if Krishna doesn't want to reveal himself, like no matter however much we try, he like we will never be able to get to him. When he sees us take like one step towards him, then he takes mercy and like he runs, like, to come to us. So it's really on him. So are we saying that bhakti yoga is really the process that is dearest to Krishna, and the other processes, Gyan Yoga or the others, those are they don't um, impress Krishna, or he doesn't like that process as much as he likes the bhakti yoga process? Hare Krishna.
yeah. Mhm. So I'll try and answer it. Others can also add to it. Uh, Bhakti Yoga is a direct process, uh, but then but it's not easy. There is a we have to achieve. There are I think there are 9 stages uh, to get to the Bhava stage. Uh, we have to uh, show sincerity in everything that we're doing. We have to totally be cut down all our material sense gratification, uh, just like all the acharyas and all others are doing. And and we have to constantly be practicing that. You almost have to be uh, to try and get to the level of Prabhupada, for instance, to uh, to reach the very high level of bhakti yoga. Uh, the, the impersonal form, uh, it's not that Krishna doesn't like it. It's just that what he's saying is that you start with the impersonal form. It's a circuitous path. It's going to take you a very long time. And to realize perfection in the impersonal path is itself not easy. You could easily go astray. So if you are successful in the impersonal path, and then you have to again go through this cycle of the birth and death cycle, and then maybe after some cycles you will come in realization with someone who is practicing bhakti yoga, and then he might lead you in the right direction. So, and at that point, you may come into realization that that Krishna is really the one that he should be my goal. So that's it's a roundabout path, you can say. It's not a straightforward path. That's the difference between the two, as I know it. Others can comment on that question if you like.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining. Hare Krishna.
Right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You very nicely explained, Prabhuji, Mataji's question, and Baladev Prabhuji's explanation of Parth. So, Mataji, I just would like to add what Prabhuji already explained to you about the why, and Krishna himself is telling in even in other verses also. Krishna told that he likes his devotees a lot. So devotional service is the best service in Srimad Bhagavatam. I will show maybe tomorrow the verse, but now I cannot remember. There Krishna is saying clearly that devotional service is the best. And when you build relationship through the gurus, through the acharyas, you cannot go directly to Krishna, never ever. So you have to take the shelter of the acharyas, of the gurus. And they are the representative of Krishna because they are 24/7. They, our acharyas, they just established the bhakti yoga through. And if you read Prabhupada's books, there were several books, and Acharya's lifetime, they are constantly dedicated their life writing books. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada, Narottam Das Thakur, so many acharyas, they wrote books, different books. Six Goswamis, Bhakti Shandarbha by Sanatan Goswami, Nectar of Devotion by Srila Rupa Goswami. So many books they wrote about devotional service, why devotional service is important and why it is the best. Their writings can prove that devotional service Krishna wants. Like, why, when you ask Mataji that how will know that Krishna likes it or not, Krishna likes it, and he clearly is telling in this verses that which is difficult, which is troublesome. That is, impersonalism is one of the path, but it's very hard. Life after life. Yesterday we read, like, life after life. You have to come to that perfection, because if you don't able to build relationship, how can you build relationship with a light, a effulgence, when there is no form? How can you do that? So, but if there is a form, Krishna himself in a deity form, so that's what also very important. We should not think that that's a deity, that's just a deity. The photo, Krishna is there, we might not be able to see through our material eyes, it's not possible, but Krishna is there. Krishna always, he is a bhavagrahi Janardana. He knows the devotee's heart. And if the devotees with intensity, so I heard from senior devotees, Grace Pran Govinda Prabhuji, he always says that when you have intensity and purity in your Krishna conscious life, with that intensity and purity, you will able to move forward to the path of Krishna consciousness. Those two things are very important. And for that also, you need to follow the senior devotees. You need to follow the acharyas, Guru, what Guru says. Through Guru, you can achieve. So Mataji, that's just would like to add. And Prabhuji already explained why devotional service is the best.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much for beautifully explaining. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you, Vasudev Mataji. Very nice. So, anything else, or can we? It's time now, but if there's anything else, you can add. Should we stop here?
Yes, Prabhuji. I think.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
this class.
Vancha kalpasarupascha kripasindubhyo evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Raghu Prabhuji ki
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Raghu Prabhuji ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
All the best.